You don't just wake up one day and feel different. Your body knows before your mind does. The signs are subtle, powerful, and life-changing. Are you the chosen one? Your body may already be entering the fifth dimension. Here's how to know. In this physical world, everything seems solid, defined, and limited. But something extraordinary is happening, not outside you. As global consciousness rises, certain individuals, not by chance but by choice, by vibration, are beginning to shift. Their bodies are no longer bound to the density of the third dimension. They're lighter, more intuitive, more attuned to energy and truth. If you're reading this, chances are you're not here by accident. You're being called to awaken, transform, and step beyond the veil of illusion. This isn't fantasy, it's frequency. Welcome to the next stage of your evolution, the fifth dimension. And here are the undeniable signs that your body is already making the transition. You feel it before you understand it. The quiet but undeniable sense that the things which once defined you no longer hold meaning. Old habits that once brought comfort now feel heavy, outdated, like wearing clothes 2 sizes too small for a body that's spiritually outgrown them. People you used to chase approval from, bend for, or constantly explain yourself to begin to fade into the background. Not with bitterness or anger, but with a kind of gentle indifference, a sacred neutrality. It's not that you stop caring, it's that your soul has recalibrated what's worth caring about. You're not running from them, you're rising beyond them. This is not isolation. Your body is detaching from karmic loops, those invisible chains that kept you locked in cycles of guilt, obligation, and unconscious repetition. The desire to please others, to be liked, to stay in rooms that drain you just to keep the peace. That desire dies quietly, like an old version of you giving its final breath. And from that stillness, something beautiful emerges. Peace. Real peace. The kind that doesn't need to be earned, defended, or proven. You stop needing to fix what was never yours to carry and start honoring what's truly yours to keep. Your energy, your boundaries, your truth. You no longer feel the need to fit in with systems, beliefs, or social roles that ask you to shrink. You realize that belonging doesn't mean blending in. It means standing firmly in your authenticity, even if you stand alone. The disconnect isn't a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. You're not losing your life, you're shedding what was never truly you. This is the body's response to soul alignment. You may feel moments of grief, nostalgia, even confusion, but they are quickly replaced by clarity, by a sense of returning home to yourself. What's happening isn't a loss, it's a liberation. The vibrational weight of what no longer resonates is falling away, and in its place you feel lighter, clearer, more you than you've ever been. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you've always been, beneath the noise, the programming, the masks. And that peace? That's your sign, because when your body stops craving what once numbed you, when your energy no longer reaches for validation, when your spirit no longer tolerates anything that disturbs your inner stillness, that's not disconnection, that's divine alignment. You begin to notice it in the quiet hours, when the world sleeps, but something in you stirs, gently, insistently, as if called by an unseen force. Suddenly, you're waking up at odd times like 2:22 a.m., 3:33 a.m., or 4:44 a.m., not once or twice, but consistently, almost like clockwork. At first, you might think it's insomnia, stress, or just a strange coincidence. But over time, the pattern becomes too precise to ignore. You realize This isn't restlessness, it's remembrance. Your body is no longer obeying the standard rhythms of third-dimensional sleep. It's aligning with cosmic energy shifts that occur during these sacred windows, moments when the veil between worlds is thinner, when divine communication is stronger, and when the physical body is most receptive to energetic recalibration. Vivid dreams become a nightly occurrence, not just colorful storylines but full experiences, intensely emotional, symbolic, often prophetic. You may wake up drenched in tears, laughter, or awe, sensing that you've just received a message, completed a mission, or revisited a past life. Time feels different in these dreams, like you've lived hours in mere minutes. And sometimes, it's not even dreams you're having, it's astral projection. You find yourself floating above your body, witnessing scenes from above, or entering realms that defy logic, but feel more real than anything you've known in the waking world. You may travel through light tunnels, encounter celestial beings, or explore landscapes not of this earth. And yet you return with a sense of calm, clarity, or guidance that stays with you long after sunrise. Your circadian rhythm isn't broken. It's being rewritten. Because as you ascend in consciousness, your physical form must adjust to hold and process more light. This isn't about sleep deprivation, it's about spiritual activation. Your pineal gland, the seat of intuition, also known as your third eye, is decalcifying and awakening. And this creates a natural pull toward the nocturnal, where silence amplifies inner knowing. Your energy body, once dormant or sluggish, is now active, attuned, recalibrating in ways science can always explain. What feels like fatigue during the day is often the aftershock of night work, spiritual downloads, healing sessions in the dream plane, or multi-dimensional travel. Instead of resisting it, you begin to embrace it. You keep a journal by your bed, noting patterns, symbols, synchronicities. You find that messages come more easily when you listen. The more you honor these nightly activations, the more your body adapts to them, and what once felt disruptive becomes sacred. This is the fifth dimensional upgrade. Not a breakdown of sleep, but a breakthrough of consciousness. Your body is no longer operating on the old rules. You are a cosmic being now, and your rest is no longer just about recovery. It's about revelation. One of the clearest and most surprising signs that your body is entering the fifth dimension is the transformation of your relationship with food. Not from a place of restriction, guilt, or diet culture, but from a deeply intuitive and energetic shift that begins within your cells. What once satisfied you, heavy meals, greasy fast food, processed snacks, now leaves you feeling sluggish, bloated, or energetically off. It's not that you suddenly dislike these foods on a conscious level. It's that your body no longer resonates with their frequency. The dense, low vibration nature of highly processed or chemically altered food clashes with the higher frequency your energy system is now attuning to. Without effort or force, you start gravitating toward foods that are alive. Fresh fruits, crisp vegetables, raw juices, herbal teas, sprouted grains, and clean water. Hydration becomes not just a health goal, but a soul craving. Your body instinctively understands that water carries vibration, that plants store light, and that whole foods grown from soil, kissed by sun, nurtured by nature, are literally carriers of life force energy. You begin to crave meals that leave you feeling clear, light, and sustained rather than full, numb, or overstimulated. Sugar crashes, food comas, and overeating lose their grip, not because of self-discipline, but because your system has simply evolved past needing those sensations. There's a subtle but powerful awareness growing inside you. Food is not just fuel, it's frequency. Every bite you take becomes an energetic exchange, a vibrational choice. You may notice yourself turning away from meat or animal products, not out of ideology, but from a new sensitivity to the energetic imprint of suffering or fear stored in those foods. You might even develop temporary intolerances to gluten, dairy, alcohol, or caffeine, not as punishments, but as signals that your system is purifying, refining, ascending. You begin to eat more slowly, more consciously, and with gratitude, not out of obligation, but because your body demands presence now. Even your appetite shifts. You may go through periods of eating very little, fasting without planning to, or feeling nourished by small, simple meals. This is your energy system absorbing more prana, more life force, more light, reducing its reliance on physical food as the only source of fuel. Your digestion becomes more sensitive, yes, but also more intelligent. You notice how certain foods affect your mood, your clarity, your ability to meditate or connect. You don't eat just to feel full anymore. You eat to feel aligned. Food becomes a form of self-respect, a sacred act, a conscious collaboration between your higher self and your physical vessel. In this shift, you discover that feeding your body is no longer about control, it's about communion. And as your vibration rises, the need to numb, overindulge, or chase momentary pleasure falls away. What remains is peace, clarity, and a deeper trust in your body's wisdom. You're no longer feeding a void, you're feeding your light. You begin to notice a subtle sensation at first, like a gentle buzzing, tingling, or pulsing under your skin, especially around the crown of your head, the center of your forehead, or deep within your chest. And it doesn't feel like a typical body response. It's not anxiety, not illness, and not something medical can easily define. It's energy, it's frequency. It's the quiet, magnificent hum of your body awakening to a higher state of being. What you're experiencing is your energy field expanding, your chakras beginning to activate in ways that go far beyond the physical. The crown, which connects you to divine intelligence, starts to pulse or tingle, like it's opening for the first time in this lifetime. In this lifetime, you may feel waves of energy swirling at the top of your head, or a warm pressure that feels like a halo gently descending. This is your portal to higher consciousness widening, making space for downloads, insights, and intuitive clarity to flow in. At your third eye, the space between your brows, a new sensitivity arises, like a mild pressure, a rhythmic pulse, or flashes of color and light when your eyes are closed. You're seeing with more than just your eyes now, you're perceiving with your soul. Your inner vision activates, giving you impressions, visions, or deep knowings that bypass logic and tap into pure awareness. And then, there's the heart center, perhaps the most powerful of all. Here, the sensations become emotional, physical, and deeply spiritual all at once. A sudden warmth, a flood of emotion, a tightness that dissolves into peace. These aren't random mood swings. They're energetic openings. Your heart chakra is clearing the residue of pain, old attachments, and fear-based patterns so it can expand into love that's unconditional, boundless, and divine. All of this activity, the buzzing, the tingling, the pulsing, is your body shifting from density to light. You are literally becoming less matter, more energy. Your aura, once dormant or dim, begins to radiate with new vibrancy. You might notice people responding to you differently, sensing your presence before you speak, or feeling drawn to your energy without knowing why. This is the radiance of alignment, the glow of someone who is remembering who they are beyond the physical. It may feel intense at times. You may question your sanity, wonder why no one else is feeling what you feel, or try to suppress the sensations. But they are not here to be feared. They are your confirmation. You are not broken. You are breaking through. Your nervous system, your cells, your very DNA is upgrading to hold more light, more love, more consciousness. You are aligning with your multidimensional self, dissolving the illusion of separation and stepping into your role as both human and divine. The tingling is your reminder. Something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. Your body isn't just reacting, it's responding to the soul's call to rise. You're not imagining it, you're embodying it. At some point in your awakening, something strange and liberating begins to happen. You stop experiencing time the way you once did. Days that used to feel structured and segmented now begin to blur at the edges. As if the clock has loosened its grip on your life and something deeper, more fluid, is taking its place. You look up and hours have passed without your awareness. Or a moment that felt like it stretched on forever turns out to have lasted only a few minutes. It becomes harder to remember what day it is, not because you're careless or unfocused, but because your consciousness is beginning to detach from linear time and align with something infinitely more powerful, divine flow. This isn't forgetfulness, it's freedom. You're starting to exist in the eternal now, where past, present, and future are not distinct points on a timeline, but layers of experience that fold into each other in a spiral of unfolding awareness. The fifth dimension does not operate on schedules, deadlines, or calendars. It moves by resonance, by alignment, by vibration. Instead of planning your day by the hour, you begin to feel your way through it. You follow energy, not obligation. You might wake up with a to-do list, only to find yourself pulled into an entirely different direction by a burst of inspiration, a deep inner calling, or a spontaneous synchronicity that couldn't have been scheduled but feels more meaningful than anything you had planned. Moments become more important than minutes. Intuition takes the wheel where logic once dominated. You notice how time bends in emotional space. A joyful hour feels like seconds, while a mundane task drags endlessly. You begin to experience time as an inner phenomenon, not an outer measurement. And this is not by accident, it's by design. Your soul is recalibrating to a dimension where time is not linear but liquid, where creation happens instantly, when intention, vibration, and alignment are in harmony. In the fifth dimension, you don't manifest by effort alone. You manifest by resonance. And to do that, you must first step out of the rigidity of time and into the timelessness of being. Yes, this transition can be disorienting at first. You may forget appointments, lose track of days, or feel detached from the fast-paced world around you. But this detachment is sacred. You're not becoming lazy, you're becoming present. You're not falling behind, you're stepping beyond. As your body attunes to this new frequency, you'll notice how peace replaces pressure, how clarity replaces clutter, and how alignment begins to create more than any schedule ever could. You're entering a new way of living, one where time no longer dictates your worth or controls your creativity. You're flowing with the current of the cosmos, not swimming against it. And in that surrender, you don't lose time, you transcend it. One of the most profound and often misunderstood signs that your body is ascending into the fifth dimension is a sudden, overwhelming increase in sensitivity. not just emotionally, but physically, energetically, and even spiritually. Sounds that once faded into the background, like the hum of electronics, the buzz of a fluorescent light, or the ticking of a clock, now feel sharp, invasive, almost unbearable. Bright lights may seem too harsh, crowds too chaotic. Even certain fabrics or scents can feel overstimulating. At the same time, you find yourself reacting deeply to subtle changes in energy. Someone walks into a room and without them saying a word, you can feel their emotional state, as if their energy field brushes up against yours. You begin to sense when someone is lying, when they're hiding pain, when their words and vibration are out of sync, and it's not paranoia, it's perception. You're not imagining things, you're attuning to the frequency beneath the surface. This isn't hypersensitivity or fragility. It's an activation of your natural, empathic and intuitive abilities that were once numbed by the density of the third dimension. Your nervous system is no longer dulled by distractions or conditioned to ignore the energetic language of the universe. It's being restored to its original state, a finely tuned receiver of truth, emotion, and vibration. You may cry more often, not from weakness, but because emotion now moves through you like a current you can't hold back. Tears for beauty, for injustice, for the sacredness of a quiet moment. Even music hits differently now. Lyrics strike the soul. Certain tones seem to open your heart or activate memories you didn't know you had. Your emotional range expands. Not just sadness or joy, but awe, reverence, compassion, and a kind of spiritual nostalgia for something you can't quite name but feel in your bones. You're no longer protected by apathy or distracted by noise. You're fully present, and with that presence comes both a burden and a blessing. At first you may feel overwhelmed, unsure how to navigate a world that suddenly feels so loud, so intense, so energetically raw. But in time you learn that this sensitivity is your superpower. It guides you away from what harms your frequency and toward what uplifts it. It teaches you to honor your boundaries, your space, your needs, not from fear, but from reverence. You begin curating your environment, your relationships, your inputs, because you understand that everything carries energy, and you are no longer willing to tolerate what dims your light. You're not becoming fragile, you're becoming finely tuned. And while the old world may see this as weakness, you now know the truth. This is awakening. This is embodiment. This is the return to a purer, more conscious state of being, where you're no longer numb to life, you're alive to it, vibrating with it, and choosing to honor every frequency that brings you closer to truth. There comes a moment on your path of awakening when, seemingly out of nowhere, you are overtaken by an overwhelming sense of peace. A stillness so complete, so profound it silences every fear, every thought, every need to understand or control. You could be doing something ordinary, walking down the street, washing the dishes, sitting in silence, and suddenly, without warning, it arrives. A deep and sacred calm that wraps around you like a warm current, soft but unshakable. Your breath slows. Your heart opens. Time dissolves. And for those few seconds or minutes or hours, you are not just existing, you are being. This is not a coincidence. It is not your imagination or a fleeting emotion. It is resonance. Your soul is aligning, even if your mind doesn't yet understand what's happening. These moments are signals that your vibration is matching the frequency of your higher self. the eternal part of you that exists beyond fear, lack, or separation. It's a homecoming, a reunion, a return to the truth of who you are without the noise of identity or expectation. You are tuning into the universal field of unity consciousness, the sacred hum beneath all of creation where nothing is missing, broken, or wrong. The peace you feel isn't coming from the outside world, it's rising from within as your energy system begins to harmonize with the divine intelligence that governs all life. And you'll notice, it doesn't require effort. It doesn't require meditation, ritual, or even understanding. It simply happens, and the more you surrender to it, the more often it comes. These spontaneous connections are not random. They are recalibrations, activations. Your spirit dropping into alignment like a key turning in a lock. And while they may seem temporary, they leave an imprint, a memory of your true nature. Afterward, you may return to your daily life, but something is different. The stress that once controlled you now seems smaller. The things that once triggered you no longer carry the same weight. You start craving more stillness, more presence, not as an escape, but as your natural state. The moments may come and go, but their essence stays with you like a silent thread running through your days, calling you back to center. And as you continue to ascend, these sacred experiences become more frequent, more expansive, and more powerful. You begin to live not from the surface of life, but from its center. Your identity shifts from a personality chasing meaning to a soul embodying it. This peace, this connection, is not something you find, it's something you remember. And every time it rises uninvited, it reminds you that you are not alone, not separate, not lost. You are part of something vast, loving and eternal. You are the frequency of love itself, remembering its way home. As your body enters the fifth dimension, something profound begins to unfold within you. Not just a shift in how you think, but a complete transformation in how you know. Your intuition, once a quiet whisper that you often brushed aside or rationalized away, begins to sharpen into a powerful, undeniable presence. You start sensing things before they happen, picking up on people's emotions before they speak, feeling the truth behind situations without needing evidence or explanation. It can feel surreal at first. You think of someone and they call. You sense something is off before anything visibly changes. You walk into a room and instantly know the energy without anyone saying a word. This isn't coincidence or paranoia, it's a sign that your pineal gland, often called the third eye, is activating. This tiny gland located in the center of your brain is more than a biological structure. It's a spiritual antenna tuned into the frequency of higher dimensions, acting as a bridge between the physical and the metaphysical. As it decalcifies and awakens, your perception shifts from being based solely on logic, facts, and linear reasoning to something far more expansive and instantaneous: frequency. In the fifth dimension, truth isn't something you analyze, it's something you feel. The universe no longer speaks in words. It communicates through vibration, energy, symbols, synchronicities, and emotion. You begin to trust your gut, your dreams, your inner voice, not because they're rational, but because they prove themselves right again and again in ways logic can't explain. You realize that you've always had access to this inner guidance system, but now it's no longer faint or fragmented, it's clear. It guides you away from people and places that lower your vibration and draws you toward those that elevate it. You make decisions not based on external approval, but on inner alignment. This intuitive intelligence becomes your compass, showing you the path of highest resonance, even when you don't yet see where it leads. And the more you honor it, the stronger it gets. The veil between seen and unseen continues to thin, and you may find yourself receiving messages in the form of repeated numbers, feathers on your path, songs playing at just the right moment, or visions that carry meaning only you can decode. You feel others' pain and joy as if it's your own, not to burden you, but to awaken your compassion and connection to the collective field of consciousness. The boundaries between you and the world become more fluid, and yet you are more protected than ever because your intuition shows you what to trust, what to release, and when to act. You are not guessing. You are knowing. In the fifth dimension, this inner knowing becomes your primary language, and every time you choose to listen to it, you step deeper into alignment with your higher self, your purpose, and the infinite intelligence of the universe that has always been guiding you home. As you continue your ascension into the fifth dimension, you begin to experience a gentle unraveling, a quiet yet undeniable shedding of the identity you once clung to with all your might. The titles you earned, the roles you played, the achievements you stacked like trophies to validate your existence, they all begin to lose their meaning. It's not that you are ungrateful for your journey or ashamed of your past. It's simply that you no longer are those things. They don't define you anymore. What once felt like solid ground, your job, your status, your reputation, now feels hollow, like echoes of a character you no longer resonate with. You watch yourself growing distant from labels you used to wear proudly. Mother, entrepreneur, survivor, overachiever, or underdog. Even the pain, the trauma, the victories you once built your entire personality around begin to feel like garments you've outgrown. You may find yourself wondering, if I'm not this role, if I'm not this story, then who am I? That question doesn't bring fear, it brings freedom. Because beneath the narrative, beneath the costumes and scripts, something more authentic is emerging. You begin to sense that you are not your name, not your body, not your resume or your memories. You are presence. You are the awareness behind the experiences, the observer behind the thoughts, the stillness that remains when all else falls away. You feel it in quiet moments when the mind stills and the heart expands, when the world slows down and something eternal whispers, this is who you really are. You are not here to prove yourself, fix yourself, or perform for the world. You are here to remember yourself as consciousness in human form, as energy given shape and purpose, as a limitless soul playing temporarily in a limited world. And with that remembrance comes a gentle release of the need to control how others perceive you. You no longer chase validation because you no longer see yourself as separate from the divine. You stop measuring your worth by productivity or praise because you finally recognize your inherent value as a being of light, love, and infinite potential. This shedding is not a loss, it is a return to the truth that you have always been more than your story. You are not the pain you endured or the success you achieved. You are the consciousness that moved through those chapters, the soul that chose those experiences, and the presence that now transcends them. This is the liberation of the fifth dimension, not just a change in vibration, but a radical remembering of your eternal nature. And once you feel it, once you live it, you can never go back. The illusion dissolves, the mask falls, and what remains is the real you, boundless, radiant, and free. As your body and consciousness shift into the fifth dimension, a profound awakening stirs deep within your soul, an undeniable call that moves beyond personal gain or ego-driven ambition and instead beckons you toward a higher purpose, to serve, to heal, to create, or to guide others on their own journeys of awakening. This call is not loud or demanding. It is gentle, persistent, and infused with a quiet urgency that resonates from the core of your being. You realize that your ascension is not a solitary path, but a sacred responsibility. Because the chosen ones do not merely transcend, they become beacons of light, illuminating the often shadowy and confusing terrain for those still finding their way. Your gifts, talents, and unique experiences are no longer just for personal fulfillment or recognition. They are tools for transformation, means through which you contribute to the collective awakening unfolding across the planet. You find yourself naturally drawn to acts of kindness, moments of healing, creative expressions that uplift, and conversations that inspire clarity and courage. And importantly, this drive does not arise from a place of ego or the need to prove yourself. It flows effortlessly from the alignment of your soul's true mission with your earthly existence. You begin to understand that serving others is not a burden, but a calling that expands your own growth and deepens your connection to the universal source. Your awareness sharpens around the ripple effect of your actions. How a single word, a smile, or a shared insight can spark transformation far beyond what you initially perceive. You feel a deepening empathy and compassion for the struggles and joys of others, recognizing that their awakening is intertwined with your own. This interconnectedness fuels your dedication, reminding you that each soul's evolution contributes to the collective ascension. As you step into this role, doubts or fears about whether you are qualified or ready may arise, but the fifth dimensional energy carries with it an empowering truth. Your willingness to show up authentically is what matters most. You don't need to have all the answers. You need only to be present, open, and aligned with your higher self. In this sacred space, you become a conduit for divine wisdom, allowing the universe to work through you in ways that transcend personal limitations. Your mission of awakening is a lifelong journey of growth, learning, and deepening service. It challenges you to continually release attachments to ego-driven desires and to cultivate humility, patience, and unconditional love. Yet it also rewards you with a profound sense of fulfillment and joy, knowing that you are part of a grand cosmic unfolding, helping to usher in a new era of consciousness where humanity remembers its true essence and potential. The path may not always be easy, but it is honored and supported by unseen forces and the collective energy of those who have walked before you. Ultimately, this calling is an invitation to live fully, not just for yourself, but as a radiant source of light for the world, a true embodiment of the chosen one who doesn't just ascend alone, but leads others into the radiant dawn of the fifth dimension. So if you've recognized these signs, if you felt the shift in your sleep, in your food, in your energy, your intuition, your sense of time or your purpose, know this: you are not imagining it. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are activating. You are being tuned to a higher frequency, one that aligns with the deepest truth of who you are. The fifth dimension isn't some distant place you travel to. It's a state of being you rise into. It's the realm where energy precedes matter, where intention shapes reality, where love becomes the only law, and where presence is more powerful than any plan. This journey is sacred, but it's also real. It will test you. It will strip away the layers of false identity, the noise of the world, the heaviness of unprocessed wounds. It will challenge your attachments, your timelines, your ego's need for control. But in that stripping, you are not being diminished, you are being revealed. Who you really are is not fragile, fearful, or finite. You are a timeless, boundless expression of divine intelligence. And now, you are being invited to embody that. So take care of your vessel, drink water that remembers the light, eat foods that carry life, rest when your system needs recalibration, protect your peace like sacred ground. Trust your intuition, even when it doesn't make sense. Say no to what drains your light and yes to what expands it. Surround yourself with others who are rising too. Your tribe will find you when your frequency calls them in. And most of all, remember that this path is not about perfection, it's about presence. It's about alignment. It's about remembering again and again that you are already what you are seeking. You are the chosen one, not in arrogance, but in remembrance. You were never meant to conform. You were meant to awaken, to lead with love, to anchor light, to remind others through your being that a new way is not only possible, it's already here. So walk gently, breathe deeply, live honestly, radiate boldly. The fifth dimension is not coming, it is now. And you're already becoming it.